Aster attends the main house's trial for the first time, and stuns the world's finest S-rank knights. He reveals his 7-wing mark before everyone, and delivers a declaration of death. Harm the Westcott family, and he will stop at nothing to bring the entire Elmheim clan to ruin. Even Aster's own father can barely believe what he's seeing. The world's #1 fighter can't hold back his fighting spirit. He wants to test this boy himself, but what none of them know is that this so-called world's strongest was, in Aster's past life, the very father he once admired most. A man who wore justice like a mask and cast Aster aside like a piece of trash. Aster dragged his broken body forward just to find one answer. And the answer he got: the wingless exist only to be used as bait. The wingless, the mark of shame that followed him his entire life. Aster was born into the Elmheim estate, the most powerful clan on the continent. Yet from the very beginning, he couldn't use a single drop of magic. His father, clan head Roderick, was the continent's only 7-wing mage. The number of wings on one's back measures the strength of a mage's power. Unable to use magic, Aster threw himself into physical training. 20 years, not a single day of rest. Even as the clan jeered at him and called him the Wingless, he never slacked. He did everything Roderick asked of him, until the day Roderick ordered him to take command of the Eastern Army and launch a surprise assault to the north. But along the very route Roderick had planned, enemy forces lay in ambush. All those years of trust, all those years of following in his footsteps, and in the end, he was nothing but a pawn to be discarded. It was then, only then, that Roderick told him the truth. He was not his real son, just a child picked up on a snowy night, and finally it all made sense. All those years of humiliation. Roderick had never stopped it. Consumed by grief and fury, Aster raised his sword and charged. He had always believed it was training. Turns out, no one had ever wanted him at all. He unleashed everything he had against the man he once called father. Roderick smiled with contempt. "Your strength means nothing to me." In an instant, chains from behind locked Aster in place, and in that same moment his body was cut apart. "Still don't understand? The wingless will always be the lowest of the discarded. You should be crawling on the ground, like the worm you are." Aster could only repeat the words over and over. "Why? Why did you bring me home that snowy night? You still don't know, do you? Then let me make sure you die with a clear head. I brought you to the Elmheim estate for one reason, only to take the 7-wing power within you." Aster couldn't believe it. "What do you mean the 7-wing power inside me? Your mother was exceptional. She gave birth to a child carrying the 7-wing power. I hunted her down for it, and when it was over, all I had left was you." Aster's fists shook. His entire life toyed with from the very beginning. And so Aster met his end. He was born on a snowy night, and he died on one. When his eyes slowly opened again, was this the afterlife? But the warmth still lingering on his skin pulled him back. This was real. Where was he? Tiny hands. Had he become a baby? The woman beside him was already dead. Then voices. Someone nearby was searching for him. The leader kept repeating, "Find that child. For Lord Roderick." What was that? Roderick. The name of the man who killed him. And he was hunting a baby? Was this a second chance? Had he been reborn? There were too many questions. But one thing came first: escape. He would not let them take him again. Not this time. Pure will drove that tiny body forward, crawling through the snow. He didn't know how long he crawled, only that his mind was fading. As long as he was conscious, he had to keep moving. Then a girl appeared before him. "Father, there's a child out here in the snow." The man who arrived was Heffred, head of the Westcott family. "Why is there a baby in the snow? He looks exhausted." Heffred looked up and couldn't believe his eyes. Winding tracks stretched far across the snow. The trail of a baby? What kind of child could crawl that far in weather like this? Slowly, Aster's mind surfaced back into awareness. He opened his eyes and found someone pinching his nose. 5 girls stared down at him. They shoved and argued, each desperate to be the first to hold their new little brother. "I'm the oldest, I get to hold him first." Aster didn't stop to think. He bolted. Get away first. Figure out what happened later. The girls erupted behind him. "Catch him, grab him." The desperate urge to escape surged through his body, and golden light blazed from within. The next second, he shot straight out of the building. Suspended in midair, Aster's mind raced. Magic? Was that magic? He had no idea how to control it. If he fell from here, it was over. Just as he was about to crash down onto the roof, a pair of large hands caught him gently. Aster looked back. It was the head of the Westcott family, Heffred. The Westcott family was a branch house of the Elmheim clan. Heffred and Roderick, 2 families, who had once stood together to guard the kingdom. But in Aster's past life, Heffred had died in battle, and the Westcott family had died with him. And now, of all people, it was this branch house that had taken him in. He had been trying to escape the Elmheim clan, and ended up in the home of Roderick's own kin. The noblewoman looked down at him, with an expression full of warmth. "From now on, you are my child." Heffred had always wanted a son to inherit his title, but one after another, daughters were all he got. "This child," Heffred said, "carries an extraordinary amount of mana. The wing mark on his back says everything. 7 wings. This child carries a 7-wing mark." Only then did it hit Aster. Why did he have a 7-wing mark on his body? Then something clicked. In his past life, Roderick had said it himself. He took him in only for the 7-wing power, which meant Roderick's 7-wing mark had been stolen from him. A child with a 7-wing mark is far too significant. What do you intend to do with him? At first, Heffred only sensed the overwhelming mana. It wasn't wasn't until he looked closer that he saw 7 wings. A cold dread crept over Aster. He could not let this power fall into the Elmheim clan's hands again. Not again. After a moment, Hefrid spoke quietly. We raise him. He is just a child. Guide him well, and he will never misuse what he carries. Perhaps heaven sent him to us, the son we always hoped for. The door burst open. The girls had been listening the whole time. We finally have a little brother. Of course we care what father decides. Your sisters all care about you already. From now on, your name is Aster. 10 years later. The grounds of the sword trial. Lord Hefrid, the other nobles are waiting. Behind him, Aster stepped down from the carriage. Today was his first time attending the sword trial, accompanying Alfin. The sword trial was a gathering organized by the Elmheim clan. Every branch house sent their eligible members, a stage for the next generation to prove themselves. The moment the Westcott family at branch house arrived, eyes turned their way. Whispers spread through the crowd, mocking the Westcotts, a family that couldn't even produce an heir, reduced to adopting some child of unknown origin. In their eyes, the Westcotts were a stain on the Elmheim name, and Aster was the most shameful thing about them. Don't let them get to you. Father Alfin, don't worry. I'm not so fragile that their words can hurt me. I brought you here today so you could see exactly where our family stands. Does it disappoint you, Aster, to belong to a family like this? Not even slightly. All I hear is the barking of weaklings. Hefrid burst out laughing. That's my son. In his past life, Aster had stood in this same place, but back then, all that greeted him was endless humiliation. This life was different. He had come back with the 7-wing mark. This time, he would make them pay. He followed his father toward the inner arena. So that's the Westcott family's adopted kid. 2 figures watched from the shadows with contempt. Aster felt those eyes. He turned slowly toward the shadows. In his past life, those were the hands that killed him. Inside, the arena floor blazed with energy. Clan prodigies and academy students clashed on the stage. Another way for the great families to measure themselves against each other. This place is way too loud, Aster muttered. No wonder his other sisters never wanted to come. He stared at the stage, lost in thought. This was the exact place where he was humiliated in his past life. Aster, you okay? It's my first time at the sword trial. Guess I'm a little nervous. Stay here, both of you. I need to attend the nobles meeting. Aster, look after your sister, Alfin cut in. Father, I'm the older one. Why would I need my little brother to look after me? Hefrid chuckled. Aster, there are plenty of kids your age here. You might try making some friends. But remember one thing, do not let anyone discover the 7-wings secret. Then he was gone. The moment he left, the eyes of the crowd drifted toward the 2 of them. Aster had zero interest in making friends. Socializing was nothing but trouble. Then something caught his eye. I'm going to go talk to someone. Back in a bit. Across the room, 2 young men sat surrounded by followers, draped in arrogance. Well, if it isn't the Westcott family's adopted kid, what do you want over here? Darius, I'm from the branch house, your kin. Just came over to say hello. You came to say hello? To me? He let out a sharp laugh. What gives a worthless branch rat the right to speak to me? In his past life, these 2 were the ones who killed him. Alfin stepped forward and grabbed his arm. We said hello. Let's go. Oh, Alfin from the branch house. At the sound of her name, Alfin's body went rigid. You always hid behind your father back then. Didn't think you'd still be this timid. By order of the main house, come sit with us and have a drink. You are the main house, yes, but there is no master and servant relationship between the main house and the branches. Aster, let's go. They're not worth our time. What's the rush, Alfin? I wasn't finished. You were born into a useless family. Your father is a failure. Failure runs in your blood. That was the last straw for Alfin. Take that back. Darius didn't even think. He spat his wine. Who gave you the nerve to speak to me like that? Learn your place when you're standing in front of us. Understand? Watching Alfin being humiliated, Aster quietly closed his fist. He reached into the crowd of onlookers and took someone's glass of wine. Leave this to me. He tossed the bottle toward Darius. A toast, my apologies. Darius caught it on instinct, and the moment he did, Aster crushed it. Wine exploded across Darius from head to toe. Aster's expression didn't change, like he'd done nothing out of the ordinary. Enjoying the drink I offered you? Say the word and I can give you more. Across the way, a servant burst into the meeting hall. Something's happened. Can't you see we're in a meeting? What are you panicking about? The children, the main house, and the Westcott branch, they're dueling. What in the world is going on? Hefrid rushed toward the arena. Father, Aster, he challenged the main house to a duel for me. The arena was packed to the walls. Hefrid, relax. A fight between children is nothing to worry about. A worthless adopted rat from a branch house and you dare challenge the authority of the main house? Mana flared across the back of his hand. The crowd gasped. A 4-wing mark. No wonder the main house called him their top talent. Darius soaked it in. Show me your mark, branch trash. Don't tell me the sight of mine scared you off. The way you show off it embarrasses me. I don't like that kind of noise. You dare provoke me? I'll make you regret this. Both of them dropped into their fighting stances at the same moment. Darius couldn't wait to tear Aster apart. All that big talk and now all you can do is block? Even the lightest contact sent a numbing jolt through his arm. The power of a 4-wing mark was not something to brush off. Where did that confidence go? Not laughing now, are you? Darius's blade became a blur faster and faster, pinning Aster down with no room to breathe. Speed. Darius had that. But behind the speed, the force was lacking. Darius was already savoring it. In his eyes, Aster had nothing left but defense. Time to end this. He leapt into the air, pouring everything into one final blow. The crowd erupted. He's going for the finish. But that unstoppable strike, Aster deflected it without breaking a sweat. Darius froze. No matter how much force he threw, Aster absorbed every bit of it. Aster finally spoke. slow and calm. You're a disappointment. A casual swing of his sword sent Darius flying. I thought about testing your limits. Turns out there's nothing worth testing. Every swing was slow. Every swing was effortless, and Darius couldn't keep up with any of them. The strikes looked lazy, but each one landed like a mountain. Even the elite knights watching from the sidelines raised an eyebrow. This kid is something else. No one had expected this. The main house's four-wing prodigy, dominated by an adopted child from a branch house. And more than anything, the mana rolling off Aster made people uneasy. Was this really the strength the branch house child could have? Darius's face was pale. I'm four-wing. How can I be losing to this nobody? Aster said nothing. He just watched, and the mana in his hand grew. Without thinking, it surged a little more, like a wave that had outgrown its shore, rising, uncontrolled. Hefrid went cold. Not again. He can't lose control again. 3 years ago, Aster's mana had surged out of control once before. Even Hefrid himself had been shaken by it. It was the first time he had ever witnessed a 7-wing mana surge with his own eyes. Thankfully, Aster had been young enough then. The surge died out before it could fully ignite. Now the same signs were rising again. And in Aster's mind, flashes of the moment he was killed, his past life. The mana swelled and surged straight toward Darius. Aster! Alphen screamed. The mana pulled back just barely, but what had already built up came crashing down on Darius all the same. The force knocked all the sense out of Darius. He screamed, I surrender, I give up. You should be grateful. I'm still in control for now. He glanced over at Alphen. I won. Then a mana wave far more violent than anything he had produced erupted from behind him. Aster's expression went still. He knew this mana. He knew it too well. It was Roderick. So you're the child my brother took in. Who gave a branch house child and adopted one at that permission to step onto this stage? I am the head of the Elmheim main house. I do not recognize your standing here. He swung. Aster was sent flying. Hefrid couldn't believe it. Roderick had just struck a child. He drew his sword and charged without hesitation. Roderick, the strongest man on the continent, stopped it with a single raised arm. Using the force of that block as a springboard, Hefrid landed and ran straight to Aster. Aster, who should have been badly injured, raised what remained of his broken sword. He had blocked the blow. Roderick had clearly not expected that. He turned and walked away without looking back. Aster smiled faintly. Father, he said quietly, I protected her. Aster, you are a man worthy of that name. On Roderick's side, that was beneath you today. Striking a child. The tension between the main house and the branches was already at a breaking point. After today, there's no fixing it. I've never considered Hefrid and his kind worth my attention. I simply reminded the branch houses of their place. Back on his feet, Aster threw himself straight back into the family's training. Even the top students in the household couldn't believe what they were seeing. Aster, you're insane. Everyone assumed he'd take a breather after the sword trial. Words going around young Master Aster nearly killed the Elmheim main house's top talent. Unbelievable. He's only 10 years old. Aster knew he had made a scene at the sword trial, but every bit of it was intentional. This was his answer to everyone who had laughed at the Westcotts, but the real goal hadn't changed vengeance against the Elmheim clan, and for that, he had to push himself beyond every limit. That was why he was back in training the moment he returned. No rest. Not a moment of it. At his current strength, he had no chance against Roderick. None at all. He carried the 7-wing mark, but the power he could actually draw from it was still too thin. Decades of training in his past life, and he had still never fully mastered the mana his 7 wings could unleash. As a young child in this life, he had pushed too hard too fast, and the mana surged out of control. The surge had terrified his sisters. They feared him after that, because he had nearly killed them. Fortunately, he had been too young then. The mana couldn't reach its full scale. In the end, Hefrid was the one who stopped him. Lost in thought, Aster swung on instinct, and every wooden sword in the area hit the ground at once. He blinked. Right, he'd forgotten to hold back. A soft laugh came from behind. Aster, you always lose yourself when you train. You've gotten seriously strong, nothing like a normal 10-year-old. Oh, and father wants you in his study. You're joking, Alphen. I still have so far to go. I'll head over now. What's it about? By the way, since when do you wear a combat uniform? You always said you hated that thing. He remembered she always avoided it. Alphen didn't answer right away. She thought for a moment. I just decided that as a big sister, I can't keep letting my little brother protect me. So when you get back, train me. I want to be strong enough to protect you too. As your sister, Aster smiled. As you wish. A few minutes later, he knocked on the door of his father's study. Father, you wanted to see me? Hefrid's expression was serious. Come in, sit down. The weight in the room told Aster something important was coming. Aster, it's been 10 years since you became part of this family. I had planned to wait until you were older for this. A ring appeared, deep red gemstone set in dark metal. This is the symbol of the next family heir. I want that heir to be you, Aster. Aster had known this was coming. He just hadn't expected it this soon. After what happened at the sword trial, you understand the position the Westcott family is in. Whether I like it or not, we are a branch of the Elmheim clan. Every other branch has a named heir. I cannot leave the Westcott succession empty any longer. I understand the title must pass to a male heir, but do all my sisters truly agree to this? Your other sisters are still at the academy. I'll speak with each of them in time. When Marfa and the others hear your decision, father, some of them won't be pleased. Not all of them like me as it is. Kudo especially, she's never gotten along with boys, I'm aware, but fortunately your 7-wing mark gives them very little ground to argue with. Father, I'm sorry. I can't accept the role of heir, not yet. I'm not qualified. I lost control of my mana. I almost killed my own sisters. Until I can trust my own power, I cannot forgive myself for that, and I cannot take that title. Hefrid's eyes softened with something close to pride. Your maturity never stops surprising me, Aster. Sometimes I genuinely wonder if you're really only 10. If you won't take the title yet, then let me give you something else. Something I think suits you far better. Aster's eyes went wide, a sword black as night, laced with veins veins of gold. Graham, the mana-devouring blade. Shortly after, Hefford led Aster out into the forest. If you're going to show me the sword, the training hall would have been fine. I'm the one who never wants to go there, because every time you train, you leave the hall completely wrecked. Svord and Graham, both legendary blades of the Elmheim main house, passed down only to the eldest son. I had them retrieved. Hefford pulled back the cloth. Aster stared, because the sword had no blade, just a hilt broken, incomplete. But the moment mana was poured into it, a blade of pure mana would form instantly along its edge. In other words, the sword's strength was entirely determined by the strength of its wielder's mana. In one fluid motion, Hefford channeled his mana into the blade and released it. In an instant, the forest split a corridor of raw mana tearing through the trees. Graham is not without its weaknesses, Aster. If the wielder's mana runs shallow, the blade will drain them completely. But someone with 7 wings, you were made for this sword. Do you want to try? Aster took the hilt without hesitation, turning his father's words over in his mind. He pushed his mana into the blade. The sword erupted. Violent mana wrapped around it like a living storm. Aster watched in disbelief. His mana was sinking with the blade on its own. Back at the training hall, everyone froze at the sound of a thunderous boom. What was that light? A meteor? Are you serious? Something just launched from the ground into the sky. Alfin saw it too. That came from the forest behind the mountain. Aster sat flat on the ground, laughing sheepishly. Father, I think this sword might be a little too powerful. Hefford hadn't moved, still staring. Aster, is this really your power? The mana in the entire sky, you blasted it into a vacuum, just for a moment. No one in the entire Elmheim clan has ever done that. You are the first 7-wing wielder to ever hold Graham. Once you fully master this power, you may well surpass my brother Roderick. Aster didn't feel pride at those words. He knew better. Roderick was far more than what the surface showed. Until he had fully mastered Graham, he had to stay hidden. The moment anyone discovered his 7-wing mark, envy and hatred would come from every direction, and someone would eventually try to eliminate him in the dark. Get up, Aster. While I can still protect you, master this power. Quickly. Aster understood. To prevent the tragedy of his past life from repeating, he had to grow stronger, fast. Thank you, father. I will master the 7-wing power and I will protect this family. 3 days later, their mother stood at the door with a warm smile. Welcome home. Father, mother, your daughter Kudo is home, and Marfa is back too. She cleared her throat. My dear little sisters, it's been so long. Did you miss me? But everyone surged right past Kudo. Marfa, welcome home. Are you serious? I'm back too and not one of you gives me a hug. You always mess up our hair every time you come home. That's bias. I'm a knight now. I have more dignity than that. The words had barely left her mouth when she spotted Alfin. Alfin! She lunged. Why are you coming at me? You just said you had more dignity. Marfa looked around at the commotion and quietly asked, Where's Aster? At the mention of his name, Hefford's expression shifted hesitant, and Kudo's cheerful face went cold. In the forest behind the mountain, waves of violent mana poured without stop. Aster exhaled, drenched in sweat. Not enough. It was nowhere near enough. He had to adapt to Graham's power faster. He could form a blade from his mana, but the edge flickered, unstable. What would it take to wield Graham the way Hefford did, steady, controlled, and devastating? Your performance this time was genuinely impressive, Aster. That voiced Kudo. Kudo, when did you get back? Almost an hour ago. And you were so deep in training you forgot to come greet your own sister. Did you actually forget, or did you just not bother? I heard what happened at the sword trial, you know. All of it. I'm sorry I lost track of time. And I heard you've been outstanding at the Knight Academy, completing every mission. You were the only one this year to earn the Knight's Honor Badge. Earning that badge is the bare minimum. If I couldn't manage that, how would I ever surpass Father? Father told me you refused the role of heir. Was it because of me? Aster thought. Father, you really told her that? He kept his voice steady. I just don't think I'm ready. You and Father both know what I've always wanted, and you should understand why I'm never satisfied. Without another word, she cut a branch from the nearest tree and swung it at him. Aster jumped back. Kudo, what are you doing? It's been a long time. Let your sister give you a little test. I won't be holding back. I can't fight you properly right now. I haven't fully mastered this sword yet. Are you joking? Do you think your enemies will wait for you to be ready? But you're my sister, not my enemy. A knight's creed, be ready to fight at any moment. Against Kudo's assault, Aster couldn't just defend. He had to defend while controlling the mana flow into Graham at the same time. He had no choice. He had to manage both. That look on Kudo's face, she was serious. One mistake and he'd be badly hurt. Boom after boom echoed through the forest. Kudo couldn't help but smile. Your weapon technique is genuinely refined, Aster, but I've been sharpening my sword skills at the Knight Academy. What is that broken thing you're holding anyway? The mana over it keeps flickering in and out. You're moving like someone who hasn't fully mastered their magic. Pressed hard by Kudo's attacks, Aster was driven back step by step. You haven't changed at all, Kudo. Still as merciless as ever. When it comes to you, Aster, I can't afford to. In Aster's memory, Kudo had always been hard on him because he was male, and the only one with the right to inherit. Or perhaps it was the 7-wing mark. She pushed him constantly. Everything became a competition between them, like they were born rivals. Suddenly, Kudo launched herself upward, gathering force. Aster felt it. The mana wasn't ordinary. The next moment she came down from above, a crushing wave of mana driving straight at him. Aster! She screamed, frustration raw in her voice. You don't deserve to be the family heir. Back at the house, Marfa felt the mana tremors from the mountain. Father, is it really okay to let Kudo and Aster go at it like this? At this rate, one of them is going to get hurt. They've seen each other as rivals since they were young, but they will never truly harm each other. I don't know how you can be so sure of that, Father, but I hope you're right. On another note, why did you call us back from the academy so urgently? Was it just about the heir? That that wasn't the only reason. He reached into a drawer and produced something. That seal, that's the main house's. Yes, a summons from the main house. After the events of the sword trial, certain figures within the main house have taken an interest in Aster. They want him to come and meet with them in person. This is serious. We don't know what the main house intends. You're right, we don't. But the worst case is that we lose Aster. Meanwhile, in the forest, Aster and Kudo clashed with everything they had. Why do you keep bringing this up? I already told father I'm not taking it. That's exactly why I'm furious. I've wanted to be head of this family my whole life and I can't because I'm a woman. How can you just turn it away? The force behind her blade grew heavier with every word. Aster braced himself. Her strength was staggering, like fighting something far beyond human. Kudo didn't let up. Sword locked against sword, pressing down hard. Steel rang against steel again and again. Then Aster shifted left, redirecting the force instead of taking it head on. He drew his sword back and came at her from the side. Kudo smirked. Just now you dodged a direct clash with me. You don't think that's enough to win, do you? Sword energy exploded off her body, blasting everything around her into the air, and Aster, who had been a breath away from hitting her, was sent flying. He hadn't seen it coming. She'd been holding that back the entire time. If this is the extent of your power, Aster, I'm deeply disappointed. A true swordsman doesn't just swing a sword. The blade and the magic become one. Judging by what you've shown me, you're not there yet. Wing count determines a person's mana potential, but what matters even more is how much of that mana you can actually command. You carry a 7-wing mark, Aster. I only have 5, and yet you just avoided a direct mana clash with me. How little do you trust your own power? Is it distrust, or are you afraid of losing control again? Afraid of hurting us the way you did 3 years ago? Something clicked for Aster. Was that it? Fear? He finally understood. The mana blade had been unstable because he was holding himself back without even realizing it. Graham's instability wasn't the sword's fault. It was his own buried fear, holding the power at arm's length. Do you know how much I envy you? Born with the right to inherit, carrying the 7-wing mark, the mark they call the strongest on the continent. I've dreamed of leading this family my entire life, and I can't. Aster, I am so jealous of you it hurts. Everything I want you were given without even asking for it. Kudo, I should be thanking you. You made me understand. I can't be afraid of my own power. He let go. All of it. The mana flooded out and he swung freely. The shockwave hit Kuto before she could react and she was sent flying. Thanks to you, I overcame my own weakness. Aster moved toward Kuto without hesitation. Kuto's eyes went wide. What was he doing, charging with that bladeless hilt? The broken sword looks harmless, yet Kudo can't shake a feeling of dread. Deep crimson mana begins to surge and gather along the shattered blade, and Aster doesn't slow down, not even for a moment. The next instant, he swings, Kudo blocks, but her whole body shakes from the impact. She leaps back and laughs. I didn't expect you to hit that hard. Aster doesn't answer. He speaks only to himself. I'm not going to waste this second life. In his past life, this power was never his. This life is different because he found Hefrid, because now he has a real family. Kudo freezes. Second life. What does that mean? The only answer Kudo gets is Aster charging at her, mana blazing. She raises her sword to block. She coats the blade with mana, but Aster instantly drops his. He ducks low and strikes, flooding the blade with mana again in the same breath. Kuto never imagined the 7-wing power in full force is absolutely terrifying. Hours pass before Kuto finally opens her eyes. She looks around, her own room. How did she get here? Wasn't she just in the middle of a fight? Marfa's soft voice comes from beside her. Kuto, did you rest well? You've been out for a long time. Kuto sits up immediately. I was dueling Aster. Marfa, what happened during the fight? I don't know the details either. Aster said you just fell asleep in the middle of the duel. He also said it was probably because you wore yourself out on the journey home. Kuto says nothing. She already knows she lost. Her last memory is Aster's strike coming straight at her, no way to stop it, but at the very last second he pulled it back. He canceled the mana on the blade himself. Even so, a fraction of it still connected. Then again, he's her little brother. He was never going to truly hurt her, but that killing intent she felt, that was real. No question about it. Kudo lets out a quiet breath. He's years younger than her, and yet he's become someone she can truly rely on. She grabs her sword. Marfa, where's Aster? I'm not letting this stand. Next time, I go all out from the very first second. If you're looking for him, Aster has already left. Kudo stares. What do you mean left? Did no one tell you? Aster received a summons letter from the Elmheim main house. Father took him there himself. Kudo's expression hardens. Nobody told me anything. Meanwhile, inside a carriage heading toward the main house, Aster thinks to himself, it must have been the sword trial incident that put him on the main house's radar. Are you nervous, Aster? The ones summoning you are the leaders of the Elder Council, all from the Shadow Realm. The Elmheim clan is made up of key branch house leaders and the Elder Council. Most of the elders have retired, but their influence is still enormous. In the 10 years since I took you in, the main house showed zero interest in you, and now, the moment the sword trial ends, they summon you. Is it because I humiliated their prodigy at the sword trial? Because I've heard. The main house leaders value the clan's honor above their own lives. Children who stain that honor, the elders quietly throw them into cages and feed them to beasts. Hefrid's eyes widen slightly. Aster, where did you hear all of this? Aster shifts the subject. Either way, I'm ready for whatever punishment comes. I've been prepared for exile from the start. Aster, I'm here. I won't let the main house punish you so easily. Father, Father, don't fight the main house on my behalf. I was already planning to leave once my sisters came home to train on my own. And honestly, with me gone, Kuto will probably feel a lot more at ease. I have Kuto to thank for helping me get a better grip on Graham. I can feel myself getting closer to mastering the seven-wing power. I want to know how far I can go, so please, Father, don't try to help me. Aster, you never stop surprising me. No 10-year-old should be able to talk like this. Mid-conversation, a faint sound from the roof of the carriage. Aster's eyes go wide. Kuto is clinging to the side of the carriage door. Hefrid is equally stunned. Kuto, did you run all the way here? You bad little thing, leaving without even saying goodbye. Father, Marfa told me everything. It's those old men from the main house who summoned Aster, and even knowing that you still can't come with us. I know you won't take me. You called us home from the night academy so suddenly you were trying to stop things from spiraling out of control. That kind of urgency means this summons is serious, very serious. Marfa told me. Once Aster walks into the main house, he might never come back. Aster lets out a small laugh. Marfa's being dramatic. I'm just paying the main house a visit. Aster, promise me you'll come back. In my heart, you're the brother I'm most proud of. You're the one who carries the seven-wing power that everyone in this world dreams of. You could become clan head without even breaking a sweat. I can't stand it, you're my little brother, but you always act like you're the one protecting us. But listen, no matter how strong you get, no matter how grown up you act, you will always be our little brother. You will always be my real family. Those words warm Hefrid's heart deeply. I'll be waiting for you at the Westcott family home, Aster. I still want that rematch. I am not letting you win and just disappear. Come back, Aster. And with that, Kuto lets go of the carriage. Aster finally finds his voice. She ran all this way just to say that? Hefrid smiles quietly. Your sister loves you more than she lets on. A rare softness crosses Aster's face. This life, he has the best family anyone could ask for. Behind them, Kuto raises her hand in a quiet wave. You have to come back, Aster. The moment they step inside the main house, the air feels suffocating. Lord Hefrid, the Grand Elder, has been waiting. We will escort you to him personally. I grew up here. I don't need anyone to show me the way. With respect, Lord Hefrid, I cannot follow your lead. The Grand Elder's orders were clear. You are to be brought directly to the tribunal chamber. Aster takes it in. This tribunal is even more formal than he anticipated. He can't even remember the last time he was here. Aster, I think you already sense it. This tribunal is going to be harsher than either of us expected. Stay calm no matter what they say. Father, who exactly is this they you keep mentioning? The Grand Elder we're about to face, he was the 6th clan head. He's also my grandfather. Aster's gaze drifts toward a training ground nearby. He scans the crowd, no sign of Dallas. Probably still recovering from that arm injury. Aster, are you listening? Hefrid's voice pulls him back. Hefrid is handing his accessories over to the guards. Aster hands over Graham and answers calmly. I made a promise to my sister. I'm coming back safe. The doors to the tribunal chamber slowly open. The atmosphere inside is crushing, almost unbearable. The moment they step in, a deep, emotionless voice reaches them from across the room. Hefrid, you haven't come in over 10 years. My grandson Hefrid, you're right, grandfather. The speaker is the Grand Elder of the Elmheim clan and the former 6th clan head. Aster knows exactly who this man is, the true power behind the main house, operating from the shadows. Zenith, the 6th clan head, a man who values the clan's honor above his own life. The others present are all key vassals of the Elmheim clan. Some of them Aster recognizes from the sword trial, but one person is missing, Roderick. Looking for Roderick? He's not here. Roderick belongs to the Royal Knights. He has no time for matters like this. So it falls to us old men to handle it for him. Roderick's absence is no surprise. Even in his past life, Aster rarely saw the man he once called father. Still, to assemble this many clan leaders without the current head present, Zenith's influence runs far deeper than Aster imagined. Grandfather, this trivial matter you mentioned, what exactly is it you intend to address? You already know. The disruption your child Aster caused at the sword trial. So that's the angle. The sword trial, just as expected. Grandfather, Roderick already handled the sword trial incident personally, and it was nothing more than a quarrel between children. The room erupts. A quarrel between children or not, it left a stain on the Elmheim clan. Hefrid, we have no objection to you adopting a child, but he has shamed the main house. He must be exiled, and you, as his guardian, must be punished as well. Aster speaks up sharply. The sword trial incident was entirely my doing. My father knew nothing and had no way to stop me. Hefrid shakes his head. A clear signal for Aster to stop. Aster doesn't understand. Why is father holding back? You have no manners, boy. When elders speak, a child has no right to interfere. The honor of the Elmheim clan is not something to be trampled. This clan commands 12,000 of the kingdom's finest knights. Every one of them exists to defend that honor. Every powerful family in this room is quietly waiting for a chance to topple us. None of you will say it aloud, but everyone here wants to stand at the top of this kingdom. So to wash away the disgrace this child has brought, I need you to prove something, Hefrid. A sword is placed before Hefrid. Prove that your son will never again so easily dishonor this clan. You remember, don't you, when you failed to protect the clan's honor? What did your brother Roderick do? Your right hand, it was cut off by Roderick right here in this very room. And now I want you to do the same to your child right here in this room. Do that and his offenses will be forgiven. The air in the room is suffocating. I will never do that. Aster is my child. I am not capable of doing something that cruel to my own son. Zenith shows no surprise at Hefrid's answer. He taps his staff against the floor. If you refuse to harm your child, then your wife, your daughters, and the entire Westcott family will cease to exist, starting now. The words are barely finished before knights surge in from all sides. Every blade is aimed to kill. Aster's voice cuts through the chaos, sharp and mocking. Old man man Zenith, what exactly are you afraid of? Zenith clearly didn't expect a child to speak to him like that. Are you that terrified of people looking down on the main house? That terrified of being overthrown? Do whatever you want with us, we won't resist. But if you lay a single hand on the Westcott family, I will never let any of you walk away from it. Hefford stares at his son, stunned. The next instant, Aster's outer garment is thrown aside. Every knight in the room goes pale. On the boy's back, the 7-wing mark, unmistakable and undeniable. If you hurt my family, I will use the 7-wing power to escape. And from the shadows, I will watch the Elmheim clan's every move until the time is right. Think carefully about whether you really want to make an enemy of someone who carries the 7-wing mark. The entire room is shaken. The 7-wing mark hasn't appeared in centuries. Am I dreaming? There's no mistaking it. That mark hits the 7 wings from the ancient texts. The Grand Elder is the first to recover. His voice drops low. Aster, do you know what you just showed us? Do you understand what it means? Of course I do. Every major text covers it. More wings, higher standing. A white-haired man nearby can't hold back a laugh. Elmars, this is a tribunal. Conduct yourself accordingly. The white-haired man waves a hand. Please continue. The wing marks, also known as sacred radiance, are vessels through which humans receive power from the gods. This power is passed down through bloodlines. Among humans, no one has ever truly awakened 6 wings, let alone the legendary 7 wings. The only lineage said to carry the 7-wing mark is the ancient Elven clan. So what you're saying, old man Zenith, is that I'm descended from the Elven clan. If your 7-wing mark is genuine, then perhaps you are. Hefford is visibly shaken. Aster, could you truly be from that ancient bloodline? My origins don't matter to me right now. What I know is this: I am a child of the Westcott family. And what I want to know right now is, are you prepared to make me your enemy? Even if I walk away from the Elmheim clan, plenty of families out there would welcome me. To you, every family that wants to overthrow the main house is a threat. To me, they're potential allies, and my potential already surpasses Roderick's. I'm certain that, at least, some of the leaders in this room would want to stand beside me. The faces around the room shift, each one different, each one calculating. In his past life, the great families had risen up against the main house, and Roderick crushed every last one of them. Now a child bearing the 7-wing mark is standing in front of them. Every family in this room secretly wants him. Aster needs to find the ones worth trusting. I still find it hard to believe that the 7 wings would appear on a branch house child. As far as I'm concerned, you're not a 7-wing bearer. You're just an arrogant child from a branch house. If you think my mark is fake, you're welcome to test it. And if you move against me, every family secretly plotting against the main house will use that as their signal to strike. After all, I carry the 7 wings. Stand down now, and peace holds a little longer. At that moment, Elmars claps his hands together. Grand Elder, you doubt the boy's 7-wing mark, yet you can't afford to act against him either. Why not put it to the test, and then decide? The room stirs. And how exactly do you propose to test it? Simple enough. The Elmheim clan is the strongest family in the kingdom. Surely there's a trial pit or two tucked away used to punish those who step out of line. Throw the boy in. Let him fight a beast. We'll know soon enough whether those 7 wings are real. Aster understands immediately Elmars is on his side. After a long pause, the Grand Elder gives his answer. So be it. Prove you are a true 7-wing bearer, and everything before this will be forgiven entirely. Shortly after, they arrive before a dark cage. This place was once a family shelter. Now it houses beasts. Defeat the creature inside and you've proven yourself. Hefford watches Aster, visibly worried. Father, don't worry. You understand as well as I do. If I don't prove the 7-wing power here, the entire Westcott family is finished. Before the words are fully out, Aster is already dropping into the dungeon. Elmars's lips curl into an unreadable smile. Deep inside the dungeon, Aster moves carefully. Visibility is almost nothing down here. He stays alert for any ambush, then he stops, eyes wide, face frozen in shock. Dallas, dead right here in the dungeon. He never expected this. A series of savage roars echo nearby. Aster's expression sharpens a focus he hasn't shown in a while. The beast catches the scent of a living presence and erupts in a roar, lunging straight at Aster. Without a moment's hesitation, Aster draws Graham. In a single instant, the blade tears clean through the beast. The dire wolf's body splits apart in seconds. The onlookers above can hardly believe it. He didn't even activate the 7-wing mark, and the wolf is already down. Aster murmurs to himself, compared to my sister, this wolf is nothing. Then a dark presence stirs behind him. What he sees next stops even him cold. The ominous aura rises steadily. This is no ordinary beast, it's a true undead creature. In moments, the wolf's body reforms stronger and more savage than before. Above, Hefford can't hold back. An undead creature, how? Grand Elder Zenith's lips pull into a satisfied smile. Undead creatures are drawn to the scent of death. The rotting remains in the trial pit must have lured it here. It took enormous effort to capture this creature. Fire, dismemberment, nothing has been able to kill it. And thanks to this wolf, the clan no longer needs to worry about what to do with those who fail. Grand Elder, isn't this too far? Capturing an undead creature is nearly impossible. And now you're asking a child to kill it? Are you truly prepared to watch a child with 7-wing potential die before your eyes? Above, the onlookers watch with undisguised anxiety. Don't worry about uprisings. A dead 7-wing bearer has no value to anyone. Elmars hears those words and feels a quiet sorrow. To be born into the Elmheim clan, what a tragedy. Aster, I hope you survive, and show every family here exactly who you are. Down below, Aster fights on relentlessly. No matter how many times he cuts the wolf down, it recovers in seconds every single time. Worse, each time it comes back, it's stronger than before. This is an undead creature. Killing it over and over, it's pointless. To truly destroy an undead creature, it must be exposed to sunlight and burned away completely. Or it must be struck by a weapon of sacred power strong enough to obliterate it entirely. If neither option is available, the best move is to avoid fighting an undead creature altogether. But avoidance isn't an option anymore. He needs to send a signal to every family watching from above. He has to use something far more powerful. The next moment, wild, overwhelming seven-wing power floods into Graham and crashes down on the wolf like a tidal wave. In that instant, the wolf's entire body is vaporized by the strike. The sheer force of the seven-wing mana blasts a deep crater into the dungeon wall. Even the sturdiest elders are knocked off their feet. Someone stammers, that is the seven-wing power? Even Zenith didn't anticipate this. The force of that single strike far exceeded anything he expected, but simply blasting the wolf apart, that's still not enough to finish it. Aster scans the dungeon. Did that actually kill it? Before he can answer his own question, the wolf slams into him. An overwhelming force pins Aster to the ground like every bone in his body is about to crack. The wolf is very much alive, and now it's faster than ever. Above, Heffred cries out, Aster, Heffred, you'll only make it worse. All you can do right now is watch. He is my son. How can you ask me to just stand here and watch him die? Heffred, steady yourself. Look at Aster's eyes. That's not the look of someone who's given up. Sure enough, a faint, satisfied smile crosses Aster's face. Everything is going exactly as planned. The next moment, pale red flames ignite across the wolf's body. At the same time, Aster pours mana back into Graham, the blade beginning to pulse. Without hesitation, he drives it straight into the wolf's skull. The wolf lets out a piercing, agonized shriek. Aster roars through gritted teeth. Did you think I was just going to keep wasting power on the same move? Graham, surging with condensed seven-wing mana, tears the wolf's skull apart completely. Heffred stares, speechless. That technique, he only taught it to Aster recently, and Aster didn't just channel mana into Graham. The raw, unrestrained force has turned the entire space into a mana storm. Above, an elder shouts, the structure is giving way, everyone get out. Grand Elder, we have to move now, this place is coming down. Zenith's face remains calm, but inside he is shaken to his core. This is the power of a true seven-wing mark, a child, and he can unleash force like this? Aster himself is stunned. He knew the seven-wing power was strong, but not like this. Heffred, did you know Aster could do this? Is that why you let him go in without a fight? Honestly, no. Aster's growth has gone far beyond anything I imagined. Elmar smiles and speaks up. So then, Grand Elder, has Aster passed the test? No one else dares to answer first. All eyes turn to Zenith. The Grand Elder has no choice. Everyone witnessed it. Aster completed the test. There is no further grounds to hold this against him. Aster, did you hear that? The Grand Elder has acknowledged that you passed. Aster slowly pulls himself to his feet. Loud and clear. Could someone send down a ladder? I don't have the strength to climb back up on those chains. Back in the reception hall, Zenith asks again and again. Are you certain you want to refuse? If you turn down the main house's offer to train you, you will regret it. Grand Elder, I have no intention of competing for succession within the main house. If I stayed here, the main house's own sons would become my greatest enemies. I just want to stay quietly with the Westcott family. Zenith murmurs. Your humility, I believe it's genuine. But the restraint in your eyes, I can see that too. You carry deep hostility toward the Elmheim clan. To be precise, your hostility is aimed at Roderick. Aster's expression shifts for just a moment. Zenith catches it. Don't tense up. I'm not interested in digging into why you despise Roderick. Then why bring it up? Anyone who opposes Roderick should be an enemy of the main house. I believe I once told your father the Elmheim clan is not a unified whole. Roderick has grown increasingly stubborn over the years. He frequently overrules my counsel. Your existence could serve as a useful check against him. Shortly after, Aster steps out of the room. Aster, what did the Grand Elder say? He offered me a place in the main house. I turned it down. Heffred stares. You turned down an invitation from the main house? What a shame, Aster. You probably don't realize what you just walked away from. With the seven-wing potential you carry, the main house would have poured everything into training you. Your power would have reached terrifying heights in no time. You're Elmar's, right? Why did you help me back there? Help you? I don't recall doing anything like that. I simply reminded the Grand Elder to verify the authenticity of your seven-wing mark, that's all. And isn't this exactly the outcome you wanted? You stand before everyone as a true seven-wing bearer, master of the seven wings, in every sense of the title. He gestures for Aster to look around. Every family's representatives are watching him, sizing him up. Some want to recruit him. Some want him dead before he grows stronger. Others simply want to use him. You see it, Aster? This is what the seven wings bring. From today onward, many will come after you, each with their own hidden agenda. Which makes me wonder, Elmars, are you one of them? Elmars pauses. I have no bad intentions towards you. My post is director of the Knight Academy. My purpose is to find young talent with potential. And for the record, that old man over there is our Knight Commander. Aster, I look forward to the day you join the Knight Academy. Perhaps the next time we meet, you'll surprise me even more. Elmar's truly hard to read. Could he actually become an ally? Heffred spots Aster lost in thought and places a hand on his shoulder. Aster, it's time to go home. Your sisters must be worried sick. Aster smiles. When they see my injuries, they're going to fuss over me terribly. Elsewhere, a knight captain speaks in a measured tone. Young Lord Dallas died under Grand Elder Zenith's judgment. I've also heard that Aster from the branch house was summoned to the main house by Zenith. What's the current situation? Heffred acted as though he already knew his child would pass the test. And there is one more piece of news, my lord. I already know what you're going to say. The seven wings, they're truly on that child, aren't they? The knight captain looks up in shock. You already knew, Lord Roderick. Aster and his seven-wing power, he's a variable. Sooner or later, later he will shatter the balance between the great families. My lord, should we not act? I have no need to concern myself with a child. I, Roderick, have no reason to fear one. Even if he grows, he'll struggle to become a real threat to me. What matters is this: when the seven wings reach their peak, I will take them from him. I am also curious just how far that infant who fled through the snow that night can actually go. The seven-wing power of Aster, it will all be mine in the end. 4 years later, Dora Hill Knight Academy is open for enrollment. All applicants who have completed their registration, please prepare to head to the academy. At that moment, someone nearby leans in with barely contained excitement. That's him, isn't it? The one from the rumors. The speaker is a rugged, heavily built man. I heard the seven-wing bearer was supposed to be here. This is the Knight Academy trial liability waiver. The academy takes no responsibility for any injuries sustained during the exam. Please display your mana, mark, complete your registration, and you're free to go. Are you from the Elmheim clan? The man's expression shifts instantly. Your name, you're Aster? I'm Aster of the Westcott family. My mana mark is on my back. Taking my shirt off here isn't ideal, but the Knight Academy should already know what I look like. As Aster steps into the trial ground, a voice behind him booms. Hey you! Did you just ignore me? I've been through the Royal Knights trial more times than I can count. Never seen your face before, and the look of you tells me you wandered in through the wrong door. This is the Royal Knights trial ground, the highest level in the kingdom. This is no place for a weakling like you. Aster doesn't want the trouble. He gives a flat understood and starts to walk away. But the man keeps going, voice rising. Everyone here has bled for this. Grueling training day after day. And even with all that, most still fail. But you, your attitude is an insult to this entire exam. You're mocking the Royal Knights trial. You show up with a tiny little toy sword? This isn't a playground. If you're just here to look around, get out. People nearby murmur among themselves. Smates is at it again, never gets tired of picking on newcomers year after year. Then the man gets a proper look and freezes. That's the Elmheim clan's heir? The legendary seven-wing bearer. Right at that moment, a voice cuts in from the side. Well, if it isn't our branch house prodigy, Aster. Aster turns. Long time no see, cousin. I'm Gurion of the Elmheim main house. I've never been told your exact birth date, so I took the liberty of calling you cousin. Gurion, the business with Dallas, I didn't expect things to end the way they did. Don't give it a second thought. Losers have no place in the main house. Besides, Dallas was insufferable to deal with on a daily basis. I've heard about your seven-wing mark, but don't make the mistake of underestimating me. I am from the main house. Now that you're here on the royal trial ground, no one is here to protect you. Smates watches the two-part ways. He's really the seven-wing bearer, and that exchange, every word dripped with tension. The man who was so eager to pick a fight moments ago now looks pale. He wants absolutely nothing to do with Elmheim clan politics. A desperately flattering smile spreads across his face. I failed to recognize a giant standing right in front of me. I had no idea you were connected to the Elmheim clan. Aster lets out a short laugh. I'd prefer you didn't call me that. Let me be clear, I am Aster, heir of the Westcott family. Moments later, all applicants are gathered at the first exam site. The chief examiner addresses the crowd with a rallying tone. We are the kingdom's strongest knights, bound by duty, willing to lay down our lives for this nation. If anyone here takes this lightly, leave now. This is not just an exam. It is a test of whether you deserve to live as a knight. If no one is stepping out, the first trial begins now. Aster stands there, a storm of emotions running through him. He's finally here. In his past life, he had no mana, no right to ever stand in a place like this. His whole body trembles with barely contained excitement. The moment he steps forward, he truly enters the world of the strong. The man who stands at the absolute peak of the Royal Knights right now is Roderick. Aster will catch up to him and pull him down from that throne. To reach that goal, the first step is passing this exam. The examiner's shout echoes, and from above, a volley of arrows is already in motion. In an instant, arrows tear through the ranks of applicants. The crowd erupts in panic. This is supposed to be an exam. Why are they shooting to kill? More arrows pour down in a relentless storm. A low voice rings out. This is the first trial. The last one standing wins. Panic sweeps the grounds. Swordsmen advance without mercy, cutting down applicants one by one. In the blink of an eye, a large number of applicants have already fallen. Only now does everyone understand why the Royal Knights carry the title of the strongest. Veterans who've been through this before snap into formation immediately back to back, covering each other. But falling applicants are not what the examiner wants to see. What he wants to see is a warrior who can stand beneath that storm of arrows and look completely at ease. Suddenly, the chief examiner's gaze locks onto Aster. From the very start, Aster hasn't moved. Not a single step. Even Smate stares. Is he frozen in fear? Gurion watches from a distance, thinking if he dies here, it saves me a great deal of trouble. Under every watching eye, Aster slowly lowers his hand to Graham. Arrows pouring down, and Aster doesn't even look up. He raises Graham with the lightest of motions and releases the most basic mana pressure. And in that moment, a devastating mana storm erupts, shredding every advancing swordsman to pieces in an instant. Every applicant who thought of themselves as a genius stands there, unable to process what they just saw. This is Aster, the man hailed as the strongest seven-wing bearer. Even the chief examiner is shaken. This has to be reported to Lord Roderick immediately. Far away, Roderick, who had been perfectly calm, senses something. His eyes slowly open. Deep inside, a vow forms. Aster must be eliminated, and soon. And Aster, the one who caused all of this, still hasn't even looked up. Every person watching comes to the same conclusion: he's a monster. The chief examiner can't help but marvel. What looked like a simple release release of mana redirecting the airflow around him like that requires a level of mana control that is absolutely terrifying in its precision. But this is a problem. His actions just let far too many applicants through. He looks around. Those who slip through by sheer luck, the second trial will take care of them. The examiner surveys the battered survivors. No time to rest. Move to the second trial site now. Smates looks horrified. We just barely got through the first one and they're not giving us a single second to breathe? Aster hears him and smiles. Already struggling, senior? The man stares. Not even a hint of fatigue on that face. How? The chief examiner watches Aster from above. He released a mana surge of that scale, and there isn't a single sign of disruption in his mana flow. The seven wing bearer from the rumors truly something else. I'm very curious what comes next. In the crowd, Gurian's eyes stay fixed on Aster. He came to this exam with a mission. His mission stop Aster from becoming a member of the Royal Knights. It's a matter of the Elmheim main house's honor. At the second trial site, in the name of fairness, all applicants are required to use the same type of weapon. Smates grumbles. There's never been a rule like this before. Besides, most of us are already using similar weapons anyway. This rule was almost certainly added last minute because of that broken sword you used earlier. Aster thinks it over. They're already watching me that closely. At that moment, Gurian's voice comes from behind. Cousin, don't tell me you're walking around with this riffraff. Smates turns immediately. Who exactly are you calling riffraff? Your father's a baron, if I recall. Getting too close to Aster could bring misfortune to your entire family. Faced with that threat, the man has no real choice. He puts on a helpless smile and claims he has no connection to Aster whatsoever. Aster watches with quiet resignation. These people so weak, and still so fond of petty games like this. The examiner's voice cuts through. I will now announce the rules for this round. The second trial is a siege battle. You will be divided into 3 teams. When a team's flag is raised at a stronghold, that stronghold is considered captured. Any act of destroying a flag is a violation. Flags cannot be stolen or taken by force. The team that captures the most strongholds wins. Like the first trial, this is a fight where lives are on the line. I will now announce the team assignments. Representing the red team, Gurian of the Elmheim main house. Representing the yellow team, the prodigy swordsman, AAR. Representing the blue team from the Elmheim branch house, Aster. The announcement ends. In the distance, a signal flare. The battle has begun. Each team holds 3 flags. To win, a team must capture 2 flags from their opponents. That means only one team can win. Only one team wins, which means we'd have to go up against the Elmheim main house. Aster can see it clearly. They're terrified of the Elmheim main house. We can't fight at full strength. We're just minor nobles on the outskirts. We can't afford to invite the main house's retaliation. Gurian is the young lord of the Elmheim main house. A single word from him can decide whether our families live or die. We want nothing more than to join the Royal Knights, but not at the cost of destroying our own families. So you're saying you're forfeiting? Smates mutters. There's always next year. We're sorry. We're small. Families, we're the weak ones here. We have no choice but to step down. And just like that, Aster moves out alone. He never expected it to come to this. But in some ways, he understands the kind of fear that Roderick's shadow casts. He was once powerless too, in his past life. He knows exactly how that helplessness feels. He approaches the yellow team's base, but there's no sign of activity. No sounds of battle at all. Far quieter than he expected. You came alone just as he predicted. Everything is going exactly as he said it would. Aster frowns. Who exactly are you referring to? And why is this person pulling down their own team's flag? The next moment, Aster's face goes pale with shock. He's replacing the yellow team's flag with a red team flag. The man smiles. Let me greet you properly, the 7-wing bearer from the rumors. This won't be the fair fight you might be imagining. This is an Elmheim clan encirclement and you're the target. Right now there is only one outsider on this entire field and that's you, Aster.